Right. Well. It's good. It's a good piece of music. You might recognize it as the theme to Ozu's 1953 Tokyo Story. But I'm not really here to talk about Tokyo Story today. This is more of a podcast story. All began in the heady days of 2020, last year. As the world closed down, me and Ralph, we opened ourselves up. We tasked ourselves each week with watching a new film. We reviewed that film. We had a golden run, and we are still on that golden run. This is no white flag. No. The music is starting again. That's bad editing. Now, hear me out. This is no white flag. No, this is a moment of contrition, an apology, partly to Ozu, in fact wholly to Ozu, also to ourselves. We were going to do an episode about overrated films we felt that were in the canon but did not deserve to be there, films that we felt were pretenders to the throne. Tokyo Story, we called Tokyo Story Tokyo Snorri for a long time because we're geniuses and really funny. I think I watched it a long time ago when I was very young. Ralph, who is on strike, was maybe saw it more recently. I watched it again a few years ago. Didn't leave a lasting impression on me, but I'm an older man now. I'm more certain of what I want from life, you know. And I know myself better than I did those years ago. And really, one of the things that we wanted to talk about, or I wanted to talk about today, because we're technically taking a break. This is a microscopic version of the podcast. Is that we were going to watch Tokyo Story. We were going to bash it alongside some other films. But we found it was very difficult to disclose and to explain what overrated means. What is overrated, you know? We're incapable as well of watching bad films, so and there's always I don't know, I think it was a hesitancy about something that was boring and about generational dramas and about a context that we don't understand very well. But Yasujiro Ozu's 1953 film Tokyo Story, which I watched the other night, Ralph soldiered through 30 minutes of it before closing his laptop. Now, I made it all the way through. I was enraptured by it. Now, it's still a very boring film. Wooden, Chishiro acting, and Cheiku Higashiyama, the father and mother, the grandparents, have a very kind of stilted acting style. Talk, wait, speak, wait, pause, speak. It's glacial. You know, Ozu, mate, you could have cut probably about 7 minutes off the running time of the film if you just kind of got those hesitations out. But the reason I want to talk about Contrition is because it's actually really good. It's not one of the best films ever made. What does that really mean? Like, how can you really compare two disparate things? Could you compare Maciejew's, WR, his kind of fiction documentary about Wilhelm Reich, his transgressive erotic film, is a brilliant film and a flawed film. But you can't really compare that and Tokyo Story. They both deserve to be at the top of a list, whatever that means. They're not really comparable. I think it is tragic. It's a tragic film. It's heartbreaking, right? The thing that I took away more than anything is there are 3 tracking shots in this film, and I've been going on and on about them to Ralph. And these tracking shots kind of made it for me. One of them, probably the most important one, is when the grandparents are uncertain what to do with themselves. They're at a loss. Their kids are busy. Supposedly they've been rejected by their children, who feel awkward and pained that they don't have time for their parents. They're also not making time. The parents are something to be tripped over. It's bad, parents have come to this big city and they're at a loss. It will eventually kill the mother, who dies of heartbreak, I suppose. Now, they decide to almost go their separate ways, the parents. So he's going to go and stay with a friend, maybe try and stay with a friend, and she's going to go and spend some time with her daughter-in-law of her dead son. Now they go, and before they leave, they have lunch together. They have it outside. Now the tracking shot kind of slowly, remember this is a very static film, that the bamboo mat shot, which is what he used almost exclusively in this film, or Yuhara Atsuta's cinematography in the film, was to have this very low camera that was at the level of the floor. You were sitting there with them. It's kind of clinical, but also very intimate. You feel like you're in the house with them at all times, like an ornament almost. And so you've got this tracking shot, and it's one of the rare moments of where the camera actually moves, tracks in the film, and it tracks down this wall, and then they slowly come into focus with their backs to us, and they're at about a 30-degree angle or something, eating their lunch in kind of silence. And it's this yard they're kind of sitting in, which is a bit desolate. And it's just this moment of, they have been hidden away, rejected by their children. They have a strong bond forged mostly through silence and kind of gestures and understandings, and it confirms the strength and depth of their bond. They're suffering together, but also creates this like massive gulf between them and their children. And really, they have been thrown out in the yard, basically. That's, for me, these 3 tracking shots, as one of them, are perfect, absolutely perfect. Change nothing about that. Watch it just for these moments, because they come close to the sublime, which is the thing we're always chasing in this film, chasing the dragon of the sublime. It's there in these tracking shots. Obviously, it's also in a way there when we see the kind of iconic scene of this father and the daughter kind of standing outside just after the mother's died, kind of staring into the distance, kind of together but apart. So we're sorry, Tokyo Story. We judged you. We judged Ozu. It is still quite boring, but it's not awful, and it's certainly not overrated. It deserves the plaudits it gets. But even beyond that, forget about the BFI lists or Sight and Sound lists or whatever. It's just a sublime, rapturous experience. We were wrong. That won't happen many times, We were wrong. We might be wrong again. It's unlikely. Thank you for putting up with this mea culpa. We will be back next week with a regular, normal episode. More to come about that. Ralph sends his apologies. That's the long and short of it. We will return better, stronger, brighter, more able to admit our frailties and our weaknesses, of which there are none. I mean, what more can we say? And as the camera slowly tracks away. Me and Ralph are still there in that yard, eating our lunch. We will stay there. Do not reject us. We will be back.